Okay, welcome back. Solo Roll Mangging, Dungeon Crawl Classics. We are level 1 adventurers, heading through a level 1 adventure. It's like peanut butter and jelly, baby, can't go wrong. We are running Doom of the Savage Kings right now. And which involves this horrific hound creature plaguing a village with regular sacrifices necessary to prevent it from wiping them all out. So we're in a dungeon right now in an attempt to find a way to kill this horrid beast, because if we don't find some magical means of bypassing its magical regeneration, it will just continue to plague the village. I think that right now, Sertina's deity is just like shaking his frickin' head, wondering why he deigned to give this fuck up any sort of divine abilities, because she has now fumbled in this adventure like 5 times or something. It's been terrible. Mostly not too bad of stuff, although I think we had to wait an hour, and we have to defer to all others as if they were our superiors, her superiors. And we have been temporarily barred from using Lay on Hands for like 1d4 days. So that's nice. But aside from that, we're doing okay. Let us continue on. I think we just finished C5, where we killed these horrible snake. Well, there were these ghouls, and then like snake monsters burst out of their stomachs, and it was all terrible. But we were okay. We're okay. We're gonna move on up now to C7, where we see this big door, these big gates. So should be important. Tall slabs of stone support the high ceiling here. 3 long steps descend to the floor of the antechamber. 2 hammered bronze braziers rest before a towering stone door at the end of the chamber. The door is carved with hundreds of spiraling runes, spinning into infinity. Inscribed above the portal is the image of an enormous wolf being crushed to death by a giant snake. Well, that's what we want. How do we summon the giant snake to kill the hound? And then we summon a lion to kill the snake. And then gorillas to kill the... I don't know. Whatever that Simpsons meme was. The floor is covered by what appears to be thousands of thin, translucent strips of vellum. To your horror, you realize the crackling, dried strips are the discarded skins of an untold number of serpents. Well, that's nasty. Though perhaps disconcerting, the snake skins covering the floor pose no threat to the PCs. Similarly, the portal poses no danger, save for the most bullheaded and violent of explorers. Dwarves, stonemasons, and sages knowledgeable in the ways of ancient builders rightly suspected the portal was set in the ground and then weighted from above, effectively sealing the passage for all of eternity. Well, we have 2 dwarves, so that shouldn't really be much of a problem. The slab cannot be moved by mere mortal strength, but if it is somehow destroyed, the ceiling rains down several tons of stone and earth. Reflex save DC 20 or 5d20 damage. Good God. A casual inspection of the chamber floor reveals a handful of twigs and short branches along the seam where the south wall meets the floor. All are ancient and crumble at a touch. PCs studying the southern wall discover small holes bored into the wall, anchors for a ladder. They were filled in by the original builders with clay mortar. A narrow 2-foot seam can be seen above the entrance to the chamber. I didn't expect this music to be so whimsical. It's like circus music almost. Hold on. Yeah, that track was apparently titled Gloom Lurker's Solitude. Couldn't you tell? Okay, so there's a handful of twigs, short branches along the seam where the south wall meets the floor. We find small holes bored into the wall, anchors for a ladder that were filled in by the original builders. Narrow 2-foot seam can be seen above the entrance to the chamber, which is sort of interesting because if you were searching the room, like if you look here at this image, this is the crawl space entry. So this is C7, which we just entered. So up the steps, there's this seam. I don't know if that's visible. I guess that would be maybe visible Oh, why would that be visible on the other side? So we'd have to go back out into the hallway to see that, I imagine. The rough stone wall is readily scaled, climbing DC 5. Why? Why? Why even make that a fucking check, man? DC 5? Come on, you're just fucking around. There, PCs discover a narrow crawl space hidden above the stone lintel above the entrance. Should the adventurers light oil or charcoal in the braziers, perhaps in hope of moving the stone portal by some ancient ritual, make a secret luck check, DC 15 for each PC in the chamber. On a successful throw, a PC notices that smoke from the fire doesn't build up in the chamber, but escapes through the hidden crawl space above the entrance to the chamber. Okay, so that suggests that the crawl space is accessible from the other side. But again, it's like, okay, say we don't search the chamber, but we actually light the braziers up for whatever reason. Why even bother with this fucking secret luck check for each player? Aren't you basically guaranteed to have one person at least notice this? So just tell the player. Why do we have to make all these rolls? Skip the rolls. Product of its time, I suppose. The narrow crawl space wends into darkness. The small passage is only 2 feet in height and width, with a rough stone floor and a ceiling built of branches and roots. The hidden passage provides scarcely enough room for PCs to crawl. Indeed, large humans will need to remove any bulky metal armor before proceeding down the passage. Backpacks and large sacks will need to be pushed ahead of PCs or dragged behind, all in all making the traverse of the crawl space an onerous one. Thus, distracted PCs are unlikely to notice a second passage above the crawl space, crudely disguised behind the same loose weave of sticks and roots that make up the passage's ceiling. The passage, a chimney extending 6 feet up to area C10, is easily detected if the PCs probe the woven mats above them. The third ghoul, Ilham, waits in the chimney above, dropping down on PCs if they discover the secret passage. Weapons longer than a short sword are useless in the crawl space, but the snarling ghoul, armed with dirt-caked fangs and claws, suffers no such penalties. Otherwise, the ghoul waits for the PCs to pass, then parts the branches and silently crawls after the PCs to attack from behind. Shit. That's not simple. Okay. Okay, so we have to take off any bulky armor, which is probably going to be... Well, that's for heavy human. That's for large humans, specifically. We have 2 human... No, we have 1 human, sorry. Kurdo's the only human, but he is wearing scale armor, so I think that's fair. We will uncheck that. He also has a battle axe, which is not going to be very useful either. Yeah, it's one of those things where players have to specifically say they're, like, checking the ceiling as they go, because it's made of branches and roots. I think it's unlikely for most groups to do that, but again, maybe I just don't play with enough groups. For my purposes, though, if I were playing, I think I'd probably say it's unlikely, so we'll say it's unlikely if I check the ceiling. It's not gonna happen. Okay. Okay. So, this thing's going to silently drop down and crawl after us to attack from behind. We don't really have a marching order, to be honest. I never established it. I think Hugrid is always first, and then Sertina's probably second due to having the torches, and then Risha, and then Kurdo bringing up the rear because he can handle himself. So Kurdo is in the rear. So we're going to give Kurdo a chance to notice this ghoul. I could just do the surprise roll and call it there, but... yeah, I guess I could. I mean, I'm still trying to get used to that whole concept of just a surprise roll, 1d6, with, like, no real modifiers based on your character. Yeah, I mean, it does... There are advantages to Axe. I'd almost be tempted to play Axe if I just changed the combat system to something simpler. But I don't know how much that would fuck with things. But Axe has proficiencies, and so one of them would be the alertness or whatever. Alert to danger, +1 bonus to avoid surprise. And when using adventuring proficiency to search or listen, succeeds on 14 plus instead of 18 plus. Seems like a pretty useful thing for a dungeon crawling character. Yeah, I mean, no fighter starts with it. No explorer starts with it either. I wonder if it's just... Surely many thieves start with it. No? I guess it just expected for you to pick it up for those that are interested. I thought more characters would have to start with alertness. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of proficiencies in Axe, you know, there's many. But you are somewhat limited, I think, based on your class list. At level 1, you get a class and general. But I think that's part of your template. Maybe not. Huh. I think that is your proficiencies you start with at level 1. So yeah, like no character at level 1 is going to start with alertness unless you have a higher intellect. Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Well, no, we're getting sideways from ourselves. We need to concentrate here. So yeah, you know, like, but in old school surprise and all that, like you just there wouldn't be a check. There wouldn't be a roll, like an intelligence roll, perception, or anything to see if you notice this, right? But, I mean, if it's a thief sneaking up on someone, he has to fucking roll move silently. So you'd think that the ghoul has to roll move silently, right? So I just am curious. It just says tactics. They might lay traps or ambushes. Doesn't really tell me. Aha. Surprise is stealth for non-thieves. The surprise roll is a catch-all for stealth, ambushes, finding hidden monsters, etc. Okay, then it's very simple. Yeah, I mean, it's really basic, which is why it's really unlikely to work, I suppose. And if we're just going off of ghouls, ghouls do not get any stealth bonus in Axe or in probably OSC, I would imagine. So really, it's just be a straight 1d6. And if you roll a 1 or a 2, you are surprised. That's it. No, monster descriptions. But it says they're undead, so they make no noise until they attack. I don't know if that gives them a surprise bonus or not. Axe does not deem to give them a surprise bonus. I don't think, unless all undead just have an innate surprise bonus. Doesn't suggest that they do. So, yeah, I guess. I mean, I could make it to +1, or it would be a -1 on our side. You know, I just try to figure, like, I like old school like, I like some aspects of the old school rules. I think surprise is potentially one of them. I just want to understand how it's all meant to work on both player side, monster side, all that. So obviously I'm meant to just roll a surprise, and it's meant to just be a 1 or a 2 on our, and we're surprised. Which seems really just unlikely. To occur, 33%. But, I mean, I suppose if we all rolled perception against its stealth roll, like in a, in a more modern game or something like that, I mean, chances are someone would notice it. So it's probably not that far-fetched. Let me just check one more thing, and that's Monstro. Just to see if it has any... if there's any game that does give them a stealth bonus. Yes. So BFRPG. They try to attack with surprise wherever possible, striking from behind tombstones or bursting from shallow graves. They're able to surprise on 1 to 3 on a d6, so a -1 surprise roll for us. OSE does not, and Osric does not. No, so it would just be FRPG, but I think it's fair. They don't make any noise, and they're creeping down. I think it's fair. So 50-50 shot, really, of Kurdo being surprised. So we need a 4, 5, or 6. We rolled a 2, so none of that mattered at all. Okay, great. Kurdo's going to get surprised. So a DCC ghoul here. We'll just use DCC stats. I don't know if I have been using stats. I must have. Yeah. So it's +1 to attack. And he only gets 1 claw attack? No, he gets 2 claw attacks, right? 2 claw attacks at +1 for 1d5. These do not have paralysis. Interesting. All right, first one. And again, there's no advantage here or anything like that. It's just an opening round against Kurdo. So the first... fuck. Second one is also a hit. So they both hit, so it's 2d5. 6 damage on Kurdo. Just his lower half just gets shredded. Oop. Fuck, what was he at? Oh, fuck, what was he at? Oh, no, I forgot. I erased the number and I wrote 6, because that's how much damage he took, but that's not what he was at. Fuck, I forgot. He wasn't at a high number. I think he was at like 8, right? So he's at 2. Okay. Yeah, having his armor on wouldn't have saved anything. But he doesn't have a weapon now because he can't swing his battle axe in here. So it's bad, man. He is the worst candidate to be in the back. But we need to roll initiative, which is going to be +1 on our side and plus... technically, the Ghoul Servant gets a +3, so +3 for them is a 17, and we rolled a 1. Okay, so the Ghoul Serpent also gets to attack. Twice at +4. I mean, this is just a guaranteed death for Kurdo. There's no way out of this. Damn, he was a really good character, too. Miserable. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe the odds will be in his favor, but I doubt it. That's 4 attacks for 1 monster, technically. Alright, the Ghoul at +1. He rolled another crit. I didn't even do anything for the first crit, so he almost certainly would be dead. He's definitely dead. Like, he's devoured. There's no help. There's no help for Kurdo. Did we go over the death rules at all in this game? There's a chance of saving a dead character by healing him very quickly, such as with Lay on Hands. Yeah, we don't have any healing, so this is bad. Yeah, he's fucked. Okay, he's 100% fucked. Goodbye, Kurto. Hopefully we can recover his shit. But we are going to be scrambling out of this crawl space to try to get to a better fighting ground, because this is bad. And I think this eventually dumps out at C9? Oh, C10 is their little lair, isn't it? No. No, C10 is the chimney. Okay, so that's what it dropped down from onto us. But we're crawling quickly to C9. The narrow crawl space opens into a high vaulted chamber, resembling the interior of a great hall. In the center of the chamber is a column rising to the ceiling. The column is decorated with dozens of stylized carvings depicting the deaths of wolves. The column itself seems to be made of alternating sections of stone and wood. Hung from the column like trophies, some 20 feet above the floor is a long wolf spear and a bronze shield. Okay, those sound pretty good. But before we can really interact with that, the ghoul and the serpent come rampaging out of the crawl space. And we're going to go into a new round of combat. So our initiative is +1. Got a 12. Theirs is +3. They got a 20. They're going to fly right into it, and they're going to attack Hugrid 4 times. First, the ghoul at +1. Rolled a 19, so that's a hit for 1d5 damage. 3 damage to Hugrid. And second is the serpent at +4, actually. +4 twice. One of them's a hit. Does 1d6 damage, and necrosis, which was probably explained somewhere here. Victim must succeed on a DC 5 forward save or take an additional 1 HP per hour damage. Okay. So it's going to be 1d6. 6 damage. He's down. I think this is our TPK, my friends. We have no way to heal him. Yeah, we have no way of healing. Because Sertina is the worst cleric in the history of clerics. So the necrosis doesn't really matter. He made it, but he's gonna die. There's nothing I can do about it. So then it's our turn. We might flee, but I suppose we'll go down with the ship. So, we're both gonna try to sling the ghoul. AC 2, nice. Crit. Crit 10 on crit table 2. A 10 is Masterful Strike, an additional 2d6 damage. Okay, I did 11 total, which I'm pretty sure is enough to drop the ghoul. Nope, it has 13. Jesus. Okay, new initiative. Ours is +1, 17. Theirs is +3, 8. We get to go again. We're going to keep slinging. Miss. That is a hit. Okay, we drop the ghoul. Thank God. But now the serpent bursts out of its belly completely. And charges towards Risha. Bites twice at +4. 21 is a hit for 1d6. And Risha is down. Okay, and now it's up to Sertina to win initiative with her +0. Okay, he bites her twice, +4. That's a hit. And a hit, so 2d6 damage. 8, down to 2. I have to succeed on 2 fort saves. Success, success. Now I'm almost dead. I will try to swing this hammer at it. It has an AC of 14, so that's a miss. New initiative from us, +0, 13, and they win, so +4, +4, that's another hit for 6 more damage, and it devours all of us. And that's the end of that. TPK. Wow. Yeah, this game is still quite lethal at level 1. I mean, maybe you get pretty darn powerful eventually, but at level 1, you know, 5-6 hit points is still fucking 5-6 hit points. When most things are swinging for D6, 5 hit points is not much. Unless you have 30 AC or something like that, in which you don't. Yeah, anybody can still die very easily. And if your priest is really shitty, and loses, their god shuns them and they lose all ability to heal, turns out it's pretty bad. Okay, well, that's that. So between my 2 attempts at Doom of the Savage Kings, I would say my first playthrough of this went far better when I had a DM and we said fuck the dungeon and we took over the town. We killed the wolf, we took over the town, we started up an adventurers guild, became rich and famous. I mean, that's a winning campaign. This was a disaster. It was a bummer, because if Kurto had been in the fight, I think we would have stomped pretty easily, but we didn't have him. So it's just unlucky. Did we do anything wrong? Well, I mean, sure, you could say, well, you didn't check you didn't check the roof of the crawl space as you went along. But in that case, it would have just dropped down in the middle of us, and we would have been stuck in the middle of it without much weaponry. Kurto still wouldn't have been able to use any weapons. Hugrid has a long sword and shield, so he couldn't do anything. Certina has a hammer, which probably could be used, but it's at -1 for 1d4 -1. And Risha has a knife, 1d4 -1 at -1. So we really were not equipped at all. And if it dropped right in the middle of us, it would have been pretty bad. But maybe if Hugrid had been the one to check the ceiling and it dropped like in front of him, he could have like maybe shifted his shield forward a bit to try to block it as we moved backwards back onto the crawl space. That would have been best case, I suppose. But otherwise, no matter what, I think it was just shit. The way that I ran it, at least. And I ran it the way I think it was meant to be run. The ghoul's obviously going to try to attack while we're in the crawl space, because we're at a massive disadvantage, and it's not. I could argue that the serpent in its stomach couldn't have attacked while we were in the crawl space, because it was crawling along. But I don't remember. Okay, yeah, so. But it didn't even matter. I didn't roll for the serpent in there, did I? Because I think I just did enough damage with the ghoul to, like, drop me anyways, so. Yeah, it just is what it is. Okay, well, I wasn't expecting that so quickly. I guess we're gonna have to make new characters, and we're gonna have to do a different module. And I think to just keep moving it along, I guess we could start at level 2, but the thing is, it's like we're gonna be behind then on equipment and shit. Unless I just give ourselves some equipment. Let me just see here, because there's other level 1 modules we could try. We were gonna run this, adventure path as outlined by this site, this blog, which would have led us into the Emerald Enchanter. But that's pretty specifically level 2. So I think we're still gonna try for the Emerald Enchanter level 2, but we'll have to do a different level 1. But I want it to be fairly grounded, so maybe I'll just... What else do I have that's level 1 that would be... Yeah, I mean, a bunch, I guess. A bunch. You could do anything. This one's pretty long, though. Well, we could do this until I level up, I guess. All these are kind of long. We could do Frozen in Time. I don't know if I'd ever run it for my group because I don't think they'd really like the combination of sci-fi and fantasy. And it's very your Hunter from the Future sort of stuff. We could do that. Okay, now let's do this one, because I just bought the, just bought one of the adventure compendiums, and this was one of them in there. And it's eye-catching for some reason. I don't know. The front cover is just really, it just grabs your attention pretty easily. I'm not quite sure why though. I can't put my finger on it. Yeah. So this is Dragora's Dungeon, and it sounds pretty like classic. I don't know. There's just something about it that just. Like Eye of the Beholder or Might and Magic. I don't know, like that sort of era seems to scream. So we'll give this one a try. But we gotta make new characters. 4 of them. And we're just gonna roll up. I think we can delete all these. I had a macro that actually... I had a macro in one of the worlds. Then let me just delete all these in one button press, but whatever. Delete, delete, delete. We could just make these with the character creator online, just randomly, which would probably be a lot faster. So there's upper level from Purple Sorcerer. So you can just go here. Wow, there's a lot of occupation source books. Crazy. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, DCC's been around forever. 3d6 as Crom intended. Blah, blah, blah. Totally random. 1 upper level class die plus stamina bonus per level. Lucky sign, standard. Yep. Level 1, class. Well, I don't know if I want it to be random, but I guess that's the way they do it. Yeah, I mean, you can do everything just random. Yep, that would be a character, a Halfling Mariner. Halfling class with pretty shit stats. So on and so forth. So we could do that, we could import this, and blah, blah, blah. But I think we'll do it by hand, because... God damn it, that's how things are done. So, we're not making a level 0 now, so we haven't actually made a character from scratch here. Because I don't think, like, if you were playing and a character died, I don't think you'd start over as a level 0. I think you'd start over as a level 1. I don't know if it says that anywhere. Holy shit, there are opportunity attacks in this game. I guess I'm not surprised, but we never thought about it. Interesting. Oh, it does say here you burn luck before or after. I don't know why you'd burn before. Yeah. Anyways, I assume that if you had a new character, you'd start over at level 1. Doesn't really say. But yeah, I mean, that's probably how I'd run it rather than... You wouldn't start as a peasant, so... yeah, plenty of people are going to sit here and roll up level 1 characters then, without going through a funnel first. So, you first roll your ability scores, you determine your level 0 occupation, you choose an alignment, you purchase equipment, Oh, that's a level 0. Right. That would be a level 0. And then, yeah, you basically just pick a class. It's pretty simple. All right, so let's do occupation first, because that might give us a different race. So let's just roll D100 for our occupation for this character. It's 22, which is a dwarven herder. Yeah, we got another dwarf. We're going to name them... Runif. Dwarf herder is his occupation. He will be level 1. And we're all going to be lawful again. Not that that fucking saved us at all, but we'll be all lawful to make it simple. And then let's roll his stats. 3d6 down the line. 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good stats up in here. 11 strength. 10 agility. Only 6 stamina. Little rough there, but 16 personality. 15 int and 15 luck. Ho ho ho. We need our luck roll of D30. 24. He gets his bonus to initiative. And he gets +1 to initiative. That's pretty good. Config. There you go. Okay, Runif. Yeah, it's probably gonna be our cleric. +2 is finally something. I mean, he's not really good at anything else, but he's not bad. So that's gonna be our cleric. And we basically setting him up the same way. He's got 1 D8 hit points, which is going to be 1. I mean, yes, I just don't want to have to make characters again right away. And I thought we were going to prevent that before, but it turns out it didn't matter. But it's just such a... I wonder if people do... Is HP supposed to be that low? A warrior in my group started with 1 hit point, wasn't expected to survive his funnel. Now he's one of the highest level warriors in the party. Right, but they normally would start with D4. Yes. Right. But we have -1 stamina, which so that would apply to the D4 and this. So we have 2 hit points. Okay. Well, I tried. That's well and good. D8, 3, crit table. +1 to fort and will. Whoops. +1 to fort and will. That's mostly all good. We'll do equipment at some point. We got to roll for spells. Again, we'll pick a good lawful deity. So this is a D11. We get protection from evil this time. That's good. We get word of command, the suicide button again. Excellent, excellent. Didn't help us last time, but you never know. Holy Sanctuary. Should just click there, but okay. Holy Sanctuary. And last but not least, Second Sight again. Which did come in handy last time, if you recall. All right, I think that's mostly it, right? Outside of equipment. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Our luck modifiers to all spells applies to all spell checks to turn unholy creatures. Nice. We'll go with Dane'Thar again. Hopefully Runif is a bit better in the eyes of Dane'Thar than Sertina was. Excellent. Okay, that is Runif finished. Next character. We're going to roll our occupation. 39 on the occupation is a farmer. Classic. Roll 1d8 to determine farmer type. 6. He is a parsnip farmer. Okay. John. How do you like that? Farmer John. Parsnip farmer. All right, here we go for stats yet again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 12 strength, 15 agility is not bad. 7 stamina sucks again. 7 personality, 14 intelligence, and 10 luck. So all he's got is a +1 agility, +1 int. He wouldn't be a terrible mage. I think it's kind of funny that he's a farmer named John that just ends up being a wizard. It's not a great wizard, but again, and say you had 16 intelligence, that would just be +1 more. And it's not that big of a deal. Any character, any role can kind of do anything, to be honest. So fuck it, we're gonna make John our wizard. John the wizard. Farmer. John the wizard farmer. He farms wizards. That's what he likes to go. He likes to go by the wizard farmer. Instead of the farmer wizard. Which is what most people would think. Okay. So he's gonna get, again, -1 on both of these D4 rolls. So 1 plus 3 is 4. He's got more than Runif. So be it. We're going to do his luck roll then of D30. That's 13. Spell checks. Damn. Would have been nice to get +1 luck there off of that. But no, it'll never be. Would have helped a lot. All right. Yeah, okay. 1d6, 1. 4 spells, +1 reflex, +1 wheel. Okay, we're gonna roll his spells then, with mercurial magic for each one, but let's get the spells down first. So this is a D27, technically, although 27 can't be rolled without a patron. 17 is magic shield. Also... Alright. 4 is chill touch. $16 is magic missile. Classic, baby. We can't die now. We have won the game. Call it up, just wrap it up. It's over. And 6 is color spray. Also a classic. Alright, but we might get some shitty mercurial magic for magic missile, so we'll see. Alright, so this is modified by luck, but I have no luck mod, so it's just straight D100 for each one. Let's start with chill touch. 84, nice. Energy burst. When successfully casting a spell, the wizard is surrounded by a burst of energy. Roll 1d6. 1 is wreaths of flame, igniting flammable objects within 5 feet, causing 1d6 damage to melee opponents. not affect, not including the wizard, and I assume what he's wearing. Otherwise, that would be rough. But maybe, I mean, you could rule it that way, but it says it does not affect the wizard. Crackles of electricity, which arc to the nearest enemy within 10 feet, cause 1d6 damage. Aura of Frost causes 1d4 cold damage to everything within 10 feet and automatically snuffs torches and lanterns in range. Cloud of Ash, which the wizard can see through but obscures the sight of all others within 5 feet. And 5 to 6, set a determining effect. Roll 1d4 each time the spell is cast and compare to above results. Okay, so we have to roll this 1d6 now. All right. 3. Okay, it's the Aura of Frost. It's going to do 1d4 cold damage to everything within 10 feet and automatically snuff torches and lanterns in range. This is his Chill Touch spell. It makes a lot of sense, I suppose, but he needs a wide berth whenever he uses this. All right. 1d4 cold to everything within 10 and snuff torches. Okay, well, that was a shockingly fitting effect for that spell. Let's roll color spray. 3. Soul dedication. In order to cast the spell, the wizard must either dedicate the soul of the target to his patron or the soul of a creature with hit dice equal to that of the target. If the caster fails to claim the soul for his patron, the spell cannot be recast until the patron is appeased. Okay. That's probably not too bad. Unless we're fighting something that doesn't have a soul. Like a golem or something. Okay. Fun. Here's the big one. Magic Missile. 20. Rush of Wind. A great rush of wind occurs every time the spell is cast, originating from the caster toward his target. Torches flicker and may go out. 50% chance. Okay, we're going to want to invest in a lantern then. Almost certainly. Between that and the Chill Touch, I think that's a fair bet. Okay, and Magic Shield. 41. No change. Manifests as standard. Excellent. Okay, overall not too bad then. I think we can't complain a whole lot about that. And I believe that he's done. Yeah, I think that's John done. Third character. Occupation roll is 16. Cut purse. Okay. So human cut purse, we'll go with a woman named Milligarid. Milligarid. It's not a name you've ever heard in your life. A lawful cut purse. She's reformed, all right? 3d6 down the line, as usual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 16 strength. 12 agility. 7 stamina. No one ever has any health. We're a very sickly bunch. Wait a minute, I fucked up. No, it's 12 strength. Fuck. 12 strength, 7 agility, 8 stamina, 11 personality, 13 intelligence, 12 luck. Well, I guess you're probably going to be a fighter. You're certainly not going to be a thief. You must not have done too well as a cut purse. I don't know what to do with you, to be honest. I guess you could also be a wizard. I mean, you're just as good as John, really. I mean, it's cleric, thief, warrior, wizard. Those are your 4 options. I guess technically anybody could be a warrior. You get the deed die for plus 1d3 to your hits. But minus 1 AC is kind of a bummer. -1 to hit points, kind of a bummer. Let me roll your level 1 or your level 0 hit points. Okay, so you started with 2. All right, I guess we'll go warrior because it's sort of hard to go wrong, right? Fine. 1d12 -1. Fucking no, reroll ones. That's my rule. I'm sorry. For level 1, you can reroll a 1. There we go. So 7, so 9 hit points. That's what Hugrid had, I guess. I'm not happy about these characters. No one's very good. Okay, your luck roll then. 19. Saving throws against poison. Not that it matters. Your +1 reflex, +1 fort. Whoops. Attack bonus is +D3. Hit die is 1d12. Your crit range is 19 to 20. Oh yeah, we can't. They don't want me to change that. I forgot. So dumb. Why is that busted? Even if you do the arrow keys, it's like, oh, maybe, nah, maybe. Okay. We just have to remember that. On the crit die is D12 on 3. And that's basically it, I think. Not much else to talk about outside of gear. Yeah, we have no luck mod. Yeah, added initiative, 19 and 20 crit, blah, 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 the D die. Oh, shit. Yeah, warriors are pretty simple. Character creation's pretty quick in this game. Like a lot of old school games. All right, and then our last occupation, 75, is a mercenary. Starts with hide armor. It's kind of nice. All right, then we just need someone dashing, someone to lead the group. Real man's man, leader of all men and women and children. Arafor. He was a mercenary in his previous lifetime. All right, let's roll those stats. This is going to be where it's really miserable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Terrible. Fucking terrible. I'm re-rolling. Let me just flush that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, better. 14 strength, 11 agility, 13 stamina, thankfully, 12, 7, and 9. Okay, at least he's got +1 strength. We don't... Yeah, we won't have a thief. Because he's going to be a warrior as well. So we won't have a thief, but that didn't save us at all last time. So he will also be a warrior. So he gets +1 to hit points at level 1. He had 4 plus 7. So 11 hit points. That is solid enough at level 1, I think. He's got, let's see, 1d12 crit table, 3. We add... Yeah, add class level. Oh, yeah, and then it did. Okay, yeah. Plus D3 attack bonus. Nice, nice, nice. It's reflex and fort, I believe. Oh, his luck roll, which again doesn't matter, but we'll add it just for funsies. 26 crit tables. So this would double your modifier, but we get nothing. And that's it. He also can't change his critical threat range. And he also doesn't have a lucky weapon. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, so now it's equipment. He started with a longsword and hide armor, so that's not unreasonable to give him that. Longsword is a classic for a reason. Oh, you can override the crit range. Oh, nice. Okay, well then we can just do it per weapon. That's fine. All right, and then armor, hide is +3, -3. +3, -3, fumble, fumble of 12. And that's it. Good. I mean, that was 30 gold for that for free, which is nice. Okay, and we also want to get him a shield. I'm not going to squabble too much about money. We're just not going to buy too many things. Shield is +1, -1. Okay. Give him a 14 armor class. Yep, that's correct. Good. All right, Era 4 is good to go. There's probably other things to buy. We're just going to go into it. If I come across a situation where I want rope, we'll say we have rope. I'm not going to sweat it. Milligrid, she started as a cut purse, which means she's going to get for free a dagger and a small chest. She doesn't need that anymore. She is now a warrior, so she needs something a bit more severe. We'll go with two-handed again. We want her to just smack. Or should I also go sword and board? It's one extra thing, but the battle axe hits really hard. So I guess we'll go for the battle axe again. We're going to repeat the same mistakes. Yeah, we'll go battle axe. It's fine. Alright, and that's 1d10. Is two-handed. Crit range, 19 plus. Nice. And for armor for you, we probably want to invest in something pretty good. I think we had one character last time that was able to start with scale, so we'll go scale. So that's +4, -4, -5% speed. There it is. Perfect. All right. That's correct. And that's really all we need for equipment, so that's fine. John, the wizard farmer, he just wants pretty much a sling. I think is the classic option here. Should have maybe kept some of the other characters. We could have saved ourselves some trouble. So the damage there is 1d4. That's it, really? I mean, I don't think he can wear armor. Right? It says it rarely wear armor as it hinders spellcasting. Yes. Table 3-3. Oh, so that check penalty does apply. Specifically to wizards. Right. So he could wear padded without much problem, so we'll give him padded. Which is just a +1 to armor. You may as well. This is a D8 fumble die, though. Okay. Alright, and then Runif, our cleric. Yeah, probably also a sling, and maybe some better armor. And honestly, I guess we'll give you a hammer as well. For armor, let's give you studded leather. We'll say that we got during our funnel that we did. Studded armor, studded leather. Is +2 and -1 with a D8. Hold on. So we'll just grab a mace. All right, I think we're good then. That's our characters. Let's try to keep our spells in mind as we go through this. Most of these are probably pretty obvious of what they do. But we can check. So Holy Sanctuary basically compels targets to hit someone other than the cleric, which for our cleric is probably pretty useful. Probably could open with that every battle. It's not bad. Protection from evil. Cleric receives +1 bonus to saving throws made against evil effects, evil creatures, undead, demons, and anything else unholy to his faith. In addition, higher up, all attempts to attack the cleric by evil or unholy creatures are made a -1 penalty. Yeah, okay. We have to get to a 20 or above for it to affect allies. So that won't be really doable at early levels, but eventually. Second Sight, we know what it does, and Word of Command, we know what it does. For the Mage, we have Chill Touch. So this is a touch attack in melee, so it's probably not going to be used too much, and it's going to do an extra 1d4 cold damage to everything within 10 feet. So it's really like shit hits the fan, John is in melee with something, and he needs it to die. But even then, like, it's not an immediate thing. It's just for the next turn. He gets a +4 to attack rolls, and every creature he attacks takes additional 2d6 damage. So it's actually not like the D&D version of it. It just charges his hands with energy. Also, the caster must spellburn at least 1 point when casting this spell. Yeah, I imagine Chill Touch is not going to get a lot of use out of us. Color Spray, though. 40-foot spray of brilliant colors. So the most lowest effect, 12 to 13. One target within that range must make a will save or be blinded for 1d4 rounds. That's really fucking good. That's really fucking good. So you imagine a lot of creatures that we're going to be fighting have like a +0, +1 will save. We have to get a 12 or 13 to get that effect. Or, you know, like 14 to 17 is 2 targets. So say you roll a 15, 2 targets of your choice within 40 feet have to roll like a 14 or higher, or they're blinded. Pretty good. And the fact that you get to pick your targets within the range, and you can specifically, like, it's not a just indiscriminate AoE. 18 and 19, 3 targets. They must make 2 will saves or be affected. Targets that fail 1 save are blinded. Targets that fail both saves are blinded and knocked unconscious. Yeah, we're going to use Color Spray all the time. And we're going to be dedicating a lot of souls to our patron. Which suggests I probably need to have a patron for that to even apply. Which I don't, because you have to have Patron Bond. Yeah, you have to have Patron Bond. If either Patron Bond or Invoke Patron is rolled, you receive both those spells. So I don't know. Maybe we don't have. Maybe that effect. Oh, yeah, we have no patron right now. So right now we can ignore the Mercurial for color spray until we have a patron, which is awesome. Okay, so yeah, color spray is going to be used all the time. Magic missile. Well, we also have magic shield. Okay, magic missile. Hurl a magic missile, it automatically hits an enemy, blah, blah, blah. So 12 to 13, throw a single missile, it does 1 point of damage within 150 feet range. You must have line of sight, but it never misses, though it is blocked by certain magic, such as magic shield. Well, 14 to 17, does damage equal to 1d4 plus your caster level. 18 and 19, you throw 1d4 missiles that deal damage equal to 1d4 plus your level. All of them have to be aimed at a single target. 20 to 23, 1d4 plus 2 missiles that do 1d6 plus level damage. And you can choose different targets for each one. 24 to 27, single powerful missile, 4d12 plus level damage. Has a maximum range of 1,000 feet. Goes up from there. 3d4 plus 2 missiles, 1d10 plus caster level. You may direct them all at a single target that is not present or visible, provided he has specific knowledge of that target. In that case, the caster must have physical memento of the target, hair, fingernail, vial of blood, and spend 1 turn concentrating to cast the spell. Even if it's concealed or invisible, with a maximum range of 100 miles. Oh my god, what a beautiful fuck you that spell is. But on average, that's going to be what? 9 missiles, so 9d10 plus your level. Let's assume you're fairly high level at that point. They each are going to do your level plus 1d10. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at the bestiary, but say you're level 7 when you cast that. That would be an average of like 12 or 13 damage times, say, 9 on average. Let's just see. 9 times 13 guaranteed damage. 117 damage on average-ish. Give or take. There's a lot of variables there, but 117 on average. That's going to kill a lot of things. Yeah, that's going to kill a lot of things. Like, how many hit dice you'd have to survive that on average? $25 or something like that. Yeah. So typically on average you cast it at something, it's probably fucking dead. Unless it has some sort of magical protections, which, you know. Alright, so that's, and then lastly, magic shield. The most basic, you get a +2 bonus to AC for 1d6 rounds. Then +4 bonus AC for 2d6 rounds. +4 to AC for 1d3 turns. And you can also apply it to someone else. +4 to AC for 1d3 turns. And it blocks magic missiles automatically. And eventually it gets up to encasing you and your allies in a magical globe. Provides +8 bonus to AC, blocks magic missiles automatically, reduces damage on all attacks by 2 points, blocks most attacks from mundane projectiles, and provides benefit in counterspelling equal to a +4 bonus. And that lasts until the next sunrise, even if your allies leave the caster's side. So yeah, that's pretty phenomenal. Usually the highest end effects for all these are just stupendous. Okay, but color spray is going to be our most used for sure. We're probably going to use that on everything that has eyes. All right, let us begin then. Our second attempt at trying to get to level 2. I have not read this, as usual, so I have no idea what to expect. Designed for 5 first-level characters. We have 4. We'll have to play smart. We do have an advantage that we're reading the frickin' module. It says that it's not recommended for first-time judges or players. The adventure is designed to reward intelligent play, just as foolish choices must surely be punished. Great. I'm sure this will go swimmingly well. The adventure begins at night, with the PCs together in an inn. The beginning can be altered to accommodate another location, blah, blah, blah. The inn is eerily quiet. Even the flickering rushlight seems subdued, as if deadened by a fell enchantment. Your heads nod and droop, and the taste of copper is thick on your tongue. A spell has fallen over the inn, enchanting all within. While the rest of the place has fallen prey to the enchanted slumber, the PCs have a chance at resisting the dread spell. Each PC must succeed on a DC 10 will save, or will have a -4 penalty to initiative during the encounter due to drowsiness, and must make a DC 5 will save to take any action each round. Alright, so DC 10 will save for everybody. Let's not fuck it up, guys. Come on, Error 4. He fucked up. Milligrid fucked up. John made it. Runif made it. Okay. The two shittier characters, I suppose, made it. Actually, most of them, they're all pretty shitty. If from beneath your door you hear a soft scratching like daggers drawn against the floor. The beast outside the door is a Zanekin assassin, a hulking silver-backed man-ape sent to slay those staying at the inn. The Zanekin carries a bronze censer, the source of the wicked spell that has enchanted the castle. Oh, we're in a castle. And has a short sword slung over its back. If it succeeds in its task, other Zanekin will be sent to loot the inn of food and drink and its inhabitants of weapon or treasure, all to bring much-needed glory to House Tyrax. The Zanekin tries the door. If it is locked or barred, the beast breaks the door down in 1d4 rounds. The Zanekin is heedless of the noise, mistakenly believing that the entire inn is ensnared in the Eldritch spell. Unless the PCs give themselves away, they surprise the Zanekin. Okay. Are we all in one room? We're together in an inn. We were awake, though, before this. You know. Because our heads are drooping. And it says, from beneath your door. So it suggests we're all in one inn room. Alright, so the other two are not asleep. They're just really drowsy. So they're going to have a -4 penalty to initiative. The thing is, we don't roll individual initiative. But really, they're just going to have to roll a DC 5 will save every round to take an action. Okay, so yeah, we're kind of jolted a bit then by this thing starting to break open the door. Although it says if it's locked or barred. We just started a brand new campaign here. And it's like, I would assume we lock our door. Sure, that seems sensible. So it's going to start breaking it down. It takes 1d4 rounds. It's going to take 2 rounds. We could be anal about if we're wearing armor or not, or how long it takes to put on armor, but I don't know if DCC cares about any of that sort of stuff. I'm never really sure what it cares about or doesn't care about. So... yeah, I don't know. Doesn't seem too bothered, so fuck it. It doesn't matter. And it says that we will surprise it unless we give ourselves away. I mean, basically, we hear this soft scratching. We feel, like, magically drowsy. We hear daggers, basically, like, drawn against the floor. And then this thing starts just bashing against our door. It seems unlikely any one of us would be like, hey, please stop. We're in here. It's occupado. You know, so I would assume something's trying to break in to kill us. And from the sound of how hard it's hitting the door and rattling in it, it's probably going to get in very soon. So I think we'll just prepare attacks. So I think Era 4 is going to just sort of stand right in the doorway, ready for whatever slams through the door. He's got his long sword out and shield. Milligrid is going to stand to the side of the door. You know, the opposite of where it's going to fling open. With her battle axe ready to swing. And then I could cast a spell, I suppose. I could cast Magic Shield on myself. Yeah, I suppose. Alright. Sure, John will cast Magic Shield. Spell results table not defined. Is that something I can do? No? I mean, I don't see a section where you'd even put in, like, the roll results. You know. And there's a section here called result, but I don't know what you put in there that would make any sense. So, yeah, I guess, whatever. Just roll a spell check. Alright, he rolled a 10, which I'm pretty sure is a nice big failure for John the Wizard Farmer on his first spell check of his life. He's never cast something before. So, magic, shield, he loses it, and it's a failure, and he loses it, but that's it. Okay. As for Runif, I guess protection from evil wouldn't be bad. Yeah, alright, Runif will cast protection from evil. 17 on protection from evil. This is what a lot of people don't like about DCC, is just how much shit you have to look up in the book all the time, like tables and things like that. I mean, obviously, if I was playing at a table and I was playing a wizard, I'd have printed out or some sort of file on a tablet or something of each one of my spells. If you just have, 4 pieces of paper in front of you with each one of your spells, it's not that big of a deal. You're not casting spells. I guess you are casting spells pretty often. I don't know, I guess eventually for your core spells, you'd probably memorize some effects. So +1 to saving throws against all this evil shit, which could include the sensor thing, the sleep thing, but he's unaffected. And then all attempts by evil or unholy to attack him -1 penalty. All right, this thing bursts through the door. Arafor is going to get his swings. That is going to be a miss with 10. And the battle axe, that is probably also going to be a miss. I think this thing's a little tougher than that. 14 AC. Yeah, miss. Okay, +4 initiative from this thing. And we have, what, a whopping +1, I think? +1. So our initiative is 8, his is 9. So he's going to go first. And he's immediately going to stab Arafor right in front of him. It says, if it hits an opponent during combat, it gains an automatic free second attack with its short sword against the same opponent. But it will flee if we do 10 or more damage, which shouldn't be too hard. So he's going to attack Arafor. He gets +3. Miss. That's it. He doesn't get a second attack, so that's good. Awesome. That's all he did. He doesn't have that many abilities or anything. So now it's our turn. John is going to try to color spray this motherfucker. 12. The bare minimum, baby. Yeah, we really gotta... 12. Bare minimum. One target within range must take a will save or be blinded for 1d4 rounds. So his will is +3. He has to get a 9 or higher on this roll. He did. So no joy, but didn't cost us anything. There's no spell slots or anything. As long as I roll a 12 or above, we have it. Pretty nice. Very similar somewhat to Shadow Dark. So this predates Shadow Dark by quite a lot, of having an alternate form of spellcasting that's non-Vancian. I'm sure there's plenty of other RPGs, but taking a game and making it like BX compatible, but removing Vancian magic, that's not done too often. All right. Runif. Does he have anything else he'd want to cast? Word of Command, the suicide button? Why not? Failure. Okay, so he doesn't lose the spell, but it raises his disapproval range to 1 to 2. Great. All right. Arafor's had enough of their little wizardry bullshit, and so he's just going to swing his sword. He misses. Milgrid swings the battle axe as well. Crit! There we go. 9 damage and a 4 on crit table 3. Now you're talking my language. Crit table 3, 4. Powerful strike hammers foes to his knees. Make another attack. All right, sure. All right, that one's a miss. Okay. Damn. New initiative. Ours is going to be a 5. His is going to be not a 5. He's going to immediately spin around on his knees then and try and stab Milligrid. Again, this is a +3, I believe, right? Yeah, +3 against Milligrid is a 14. That is a hit. 4, 1d6 +3 damage. 7 damage. And he immediately follows it up with another attack for 11, which is a miss. Ouch. And we get to go. Arafor is going to swing. And that is 11 points of damage. Oh my god. Also, keep forgetting about Mighty Deed dice. I think that's probably, again, a lot more... It's a lot easier to remember when it's your only character and you're actually rolling a physical D3 or a D6 or whatever, and seeing if you achieve it or not. Also, if the DM enforces the rule that you have to declare it ahead of time, which would probably help me if I started declaring it ahead of time. Yeah, I just think it kind of slips into that usual thing of just like, I feel like there's kind of a default one you do, you know. And it even says, recommended each warrior to find his own signature deed. That the assumption is if you forget to declare, this is the signature move. It's your default one. Yeah, so it tells you that if you forget, you should still get the benefit of having just a default one. I think we said my default one was going to be the battle tactics, to give +3 to attack rolls to someone else. So technically, Milligrid would have done that. And given the +3... Okay, I gave it to Arafor, so it was really 20, so whatever, it doesn't matter. And then Arafor would do battle tactics to Milligrid, and they just trade off and help each other. You know, it's like when Captain America and Winter Soldier fought Iron Man, and they were like bouncing the shield between each other and fighting them, you know, sort of like that. It's just like that. All right, we have done a total of 20 damage to this motherfucker. He's not dead, but he is certainly going to flee now. He expected a much easier fight. Also, I forgot critically that they were supposed to succeed on will saves. Probably like 3 will saves they have to make, 5 or higher. Okay, so the second turn, or really the first actual turn, Arafor would have missed. Or he would have not been able to go. So that was the opener. Arafor missed the second round, the first round anyways. So it doesn't change anything. And then Milgrid. Okay, no problems. All right, we don't have to fudge anything. It's all good. Okay. Yes, Milligrid still gets to attack this turn with a +3. 16 is going to be a hit for 7 damage. So this thing's at 3 hit points left. Well, I suppose Magic Missile is in order then. roll that magic missile. All right, he loses it as well. Great. That leaves Runif to either try to cause him to commit suicide or just fire off a sling. I guess we'll fire off the sling. Fumble. Great. I rolled a 3 on the fumble table. Your weapon comes loose in your hand. You quickly grab it and your grip is disrupted. -2 penalty on your next attack roll. Alright, and then it's a new initiative. Ours is 7, his is 6. Hot damn! Alright, we'll check for Arafor. He made it. He's going to swing that sword. And he hits for 3 damage, so I think this thing's dead. I think we got it. Excellent. I mean, anytime you have like 4 or 5 versus 1 target, and then 1 target really only gets 1 attack per turn, it's pretty good. Once the Zanekin has been defeated, the PCs are free to investigate the rest of the inn. Most of the sleeping folk can be awakened, but they react with fear when told of what has occurred. Additional help is not forthcoming unless the judge requires replacement PCs. Worse, the characters learn rumors of a similar eldritch slumber trapping those of royal blood. It is whispered that the king and all his court have succumbed to a sleep from which they cannot be awakened. It falls to the PCs to track the assassin back to its lair and lift the curse. Okay, well, we slayed it, so whoops. The enormous man-ape dwarfs most humanoids, stretching out its over 7 feet in height, weighing as much as 3 grown men. It wore a shirt of armor composed of crude iron links sewn into a leather jerkin. The leather appears to be from some sort of cave lizard. The sword was forged with the same low-grade iron, its haft wrapped in braided dark elf hair. The weapon has seen battle before and has multiple nicks and scars. The censer that it carried still stinks from the fumes of the arcane herbs used to power the enchanted slumber. An apothecary, alchemist, or wizard can make a DC 10 intelligence check to recognize that the Eldritch Sleep resembles a legendary enchantment of the Sorcerer Kings of Parhawk. Alright, John, what do you know about Parhawk? Let's see. Roll them bones. He doesn't know jack shit. And we have no one that's an apothecary, alchemist, or wizard. So we don't know anything about that. A wizard or elf can use the censer and the ash within it as a means to research the spell Sleep, but neither is itself magical. Researching spells, huh? So you do learn new spells at each level. It's a generous game in that sense. Should a wizard have a source of knowledge for a new spell, he may choose to learn that spell when he reaches a new level instead of rolling randomly. Okay. Well, that's fun. A source of knowledge. A little tricky because it has to sort of, as a DM, you have to put that kind of stuff in. But, yeah, okay. Well, we're almost certainly going to want to learn Sleep. So, yes, we will take that. Okay, it doesn't really say how to track this thing if he died. But assuming that there are tracks outside the inn, I guess we'll follow them. It says, with every hour we wait, though, the difficulty increases. 1 to 3 hours requires a DC 5 intelligence check. 3 to 6 hours, DC 10. 6 to 9 hours, 15. 9 to 12 hours, DC 20. And after 12 hours, the trail is lost. Remember that a character without an appropriate occupation uses a D10 to make this check. Again, it's one of those just like fucking dumb, stupid thing, right? It's just dumb. We have evolved past this. There has been enough games performed where people are like, this is not a good way to do it. Let's remove this. Because again, like you sit down, you make all your characters, you're at a session. It's a level 1 session. It's like, all right, here we go. We're going to start this new module. Very exciting. You have this exciting encounter with this master assassin. You manage to slay him, whatever. The party's pretty beat up, though. You get the unlucky rolls or something. So they're like, okay, let's just rest for the night. We'll track him in the morning. We'll try to follow his trail in the morning. Like, okay, 8 hours later, the DC is 15. Is anyone a tracker? Does anyone have any tracking occupations or... No, no one? Okay, I guess we're rolling a D10. And the DM's like, and they roll a D10. And it's like, okay, roll your intelligence plus D10. And they're like, oh my god, we got a 10. Oh, that's an 11. We got an 11. Like, well, you can't seem to find any tracks. Yeah, you have no idea. So, I guess that's it. Or they're like, okay, let's get some sleep. We're gonna go to the market in the morning. We'll do some shopping, and we're really gonna prepare. We're going after some sort of master assassin, so this is gonna be tricky. So they do shopping. They rest. They do some shopping. It's been like 14 hours or whatever. And like, okay, I think we're good. Let's follow that trail now. It's like, well, you can't find any trail. Well, I guess thanks for coming to my game session, guys. We'll see you next week, and maybe you'll find some adventure next week. It's just dumb. Yeah, we've moved beyond this. I'm not saying you can never have a check to see if you track something, and if you're doing more of an open sort of sandbox hex crawl kind of thing, it's like, yeah, that's a reasonable thing that there shouldn't, sometimes you just won't find tracks. You can't always track everything. Sure, it's been a month. We want to track this. We want to track this chimpanzee through the forest. Like, I really don't think so. But if it's part of like a specific module, or like you have a specific thing in mind, for a more structured game, then if there is any downside to failure, if there's any risk of failure, it should be time. It should cost you time or something like that, of the time that it takes you to track this. You could do something where they follow some especially if you're tracking like a master assassin or something, maybe he purposefully leads the tracks into a dangerous situation, or maybe he's like waiting in ambush or something like that. But generally it's just like time, and there should be some consequence to their failure to follow this quickly. But there should never be a situation where they just fail and they don't find the track. Yeah, this is amateur shit. But it was a product of its time, I suppose, so what can I say? So let's just ignore that. After a 4-day journey through ancient woods and rocky badlands, the track ends in a wide clearing. The judge may feel free to have the PCs encounter small villages that have fallen prey to the Zane kin, their folk lying dead and their foodstuffs and treasures looted. Okay, well, I could throw that in there. That's a nice touch. At last, your hunt has come to an end. The thick forest parts to reveal a broad clearing, split by a gaping ravine. Broken flagstones, crumbling walls, and fallen pillars litter the clearing. At one time, this must have been a grand plaza, but now all is given over to ruin. As the PCs step onto the plaza, any PC who succeeds in a secret luck check immediately feels as if they are being watched. Okay, well, I mean, Runif has a 15 luck. He certainly succeeded. Yeah, it's a roll under. So Runif at least feels like he's being watched. Oh, wizard or elf. Okay, we gotta roll for John then. Come on, John. Nope, John is the worst character we've ever had. So no, Runif just feels like he's being watched. Tregor is watching the PCs through the scrying pool and immediately dispatches a pair of Zanekin to eliminate them. A casual examination of the ravine reveals that it was torn open by an earthquake in the last 2 months. The walls are vertical, DC 15 strength check to climb. The ravine seethes with dense mists, obscuring its depth, 500 feet. The mist stings the eyes and burns the lungs, but otherwise presents no threat to PCs. Descending into the rift will most likely require a series of belays. Belays? 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 Belay? Belay? Well...
Belay.
Yeah, I know, I got... But yeah, I guess that's also the noun. That's also the noun. Belays. Sounds a little weird, but sure. With the PCs roping themselves off as their companions rappel down to the next ledge. Okay, and that's it. That's what you're told. But as the there's no map here or anything. I don't think. At least for this section. Yeah. So, yeah. You just tell the players that there's a gaping ravine, there's a mist sort of pouring out of it that stings your eyes and burns your lungs. And the walls are just straight vertical down. And that's it. Like, I guess the tracks lead to the ravine. That's like the best. That's really the only. It's like, okay, you got to get down there somehow. Good luck. And it's 500 feet. A thundering waterfall punctures the side of the chasm, tumbling down into the swirling mist. The tumbling water crashes atop a pair of matching portals set into the wall of the chasm. Once there was a worked stone corridor here, but when the chasm was torn open, the corridor was broken in two. Characters rappelling down the walls of the chasm can easily reach one of the portals, but reaching the opposite side is a challenge, made more difficult due to the crashing waterfall. With a DC 10 agility check, a PC can swing to the far wall, but seizing a handhold and hanging on requires a DC 12 strength check. Okay, I'm trying to envision this whole thing. I don't know if I like the word portal here. I feel like that throws me off. Because when I think portal, I think of like a magical, like, portal. I think they mean more of just like a doorway or an archway or something like that. But the waterfall crashes atop a pair of them set into the wall. Except that's not what it does, because it says that we can reach one, but reaching the opposite side is a challenge. So these are on opposite sides of the chasm. They're not... The waterfall's not crashing on top a pair of them. It's crashing atop one of a pair of matching portals. Right? So we're climbing down the ravine on the opposite side of the waterfall. Except that's not right either, right? Because that would suggest that we don't have to go to the other one. But we can easily reach one of them, but reaching the opposite side is a challenge. So maybe they're both... Okay, so... Question I have, what is wrong with the portal that we can reach? It doesn't say anything about the portal we can reach, and we have no map. You really need imagery here. Like, I cannot envision this with the way you're describing it. I have no idea. Why would we try to get to the other portal? Why is that one different? If they're matching, what do I give a shit? What's wrong with this one? I have no idea. This is a problem. I think we've already run into a few issues with this module, which is probably why I've not heard of it. Yeah, and I'm not going to find any, like, maps for it. Not for, like, a semi-untouched talked about module for DCC. It's just, you're not going to find much help. Okay, so apparently there's big questions people have there's issues with the module that I haven't even gotten to. So that's nice. Shit. I don't often have problems with stuff like this, you know? Like, we've looked at a lot of modules. I don't generally have issues envisioning what they're trying to do. But I just don't know how I would run this and describe it to players when they ask questions that would get them to want to go to this other portal. So once there was a worked stone corridor here, but when the chasm was torn open, the corridor was broken in two. I get that. Like, I'm still picturing like opposite sides of the chasm. One wall here, one doorway, archway here, one archway here from a matching corridor. I guess the only way that I could explain it as to why they'd want to get to the other one is the one that they can get to is like rubble. It's like all just collapsed in and basically useless. And then the other one they can see is not. But then it's talking about the waterfall making it difficult. And I'm not sure how the waterfall makes it difficult unless it's directly like... Okay, so, right. What I'm... Fucking hell, this is crazy. I can't believe this is so poorly written. So here's the ravine, right? We're coming from this side. Because I assume the players came from this direction, right? Here's all the ruins and whatever, you know, and we're blah, blah, blah. And there's ruins over here. And rather than walking all the way around, we see the tracks go boop, 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 right up to the edge here. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to go down here because this is the way that this creature came from or whatever. So we go down here. I'm assuming partway down then there is a portal here. This was a corridor. So there might even be like, you know, a ledge sticking out here. And then we can see over here there's a matching thing sticking out. And we can see, yeah, that's the same material. It looks like the corridor was torn apart. This one's all fucked up. We can't get in that way. It's useless. This one is open. We can see it visibly that it's open and we want to get in there. That's fine. I'm with you so far. I'm all on board with this. I think in this case, a lot of people would just say, okay, well, we're going to climb back up, walk around the ravine, and then climb back down this way. I mean, that seems correct. But that's not what the module is even suggesting. Because it's reaching the opposite side is a challenge made more difficult due to the crashing waterfall. It says a thundering waterfall punctures the side of the chasm. So the waterfall is not coming from up here, you know, the top ground down. It's coming out of the side of the chasm. And it's crashing atop a pair of matching portals. Doesn't make any sense. So the only thing that wouldn't make sense is that the waterfall is like above the portal here, and it's crashing down onto this side of the corridor. But we can see through the water a bit, and we see that it's open over there. That's really the only thing that I would say makes sense. So it is tricky. And even if we wanted to climb down from the other side, it still could be a little tricky because we'd be climbing through the waterfall. We could slip pretty easily to get down there. What I have no idea then, and completely contradicts everything that I just painted there, is this, where it says, with a DC 10 agility check, a PC can swing to the far wall. Swing how? That's not how physics or anything works. Unless this chasm is way narrower than I'm envisioning. Maybe it is. It never actually says how wide it is, except that it's gaping. You're not going to throw the word gaping at me without me saying that it's pretty... It's fucking gaping. So, I don't know how gaping I imagined it, but I would say at least, like, what, 30, 40 feet? We could call that gaping. Also, apparently we are 470 feet down because the Zanekin come out and try to cut our ropes, and if we fall the remaining 30 feet to the chasm's floor. So we're 470 feet down. So you have to bring along 500 feet of rope. And then the Zanekin try to cut our ropes and throw rocks down at us from 470 feet up. Which I think should be quite a bit lower than a -8. They should only hit on a 20, really. This whole scene is just a fucking mess. And if I was going to run this, I would rewrite most of it. I like some of the idea in principle of climbing down a ravine and realizing that, okay, we have to get to the other side. There's a waterfall. But there's no way that you can just push yourself off this wall and go 40 feet over. Not unless your rope is, like, attached to God's dick or something. Like, I don't see it. This frustrates me more than it should. And this is a Harley Stroh adventure. I mean, he's a good author. He's written a lot of these classics. I want to get into his head for what it was. And this would be completely cleared up, really, with one good illustration. Or maybe I'm just an idiot. I guess I could be. But crazy, man. Crazy. So, I don't really know how to do it other than just following it strictly as written, because I don't really need to know how it works to just play it solo. All we have to do is succeed on a DC 10 agility check. And then a DC 12 strength check. Yeah, but then, assuming your players didn't properly tie, like, secure their ropes or have some sort of countermeasures for their ropes, the Zanekin are just going to walk up and cut all the ropes, and you're just going to fall 3d6 damage, which at level 1 is 11 damage on average, will even kill Arafor on average. So that's a TPK right there. I mean, this is... I know it said this is not for first-time judges or players, but come on, man. This is poorly written for DMs and poorly written for players. I don't know what to think of the whole thing. This just frustrates me. And it's very rare. We've looked at a lot of modules. I would rather have, like, a boring plain Jane module that's written coherently, that I never question what they mean, compared to something that's more evocative and unique that I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Like, in the Shadow of Tower of Silver Axe, I think it was a really, like, plain Jane, kind of boring, vanilla module. But we had fun with it just because, like, there was never any confusion. We just kept moving through, and there were fun situations still, and blah, blah, blah. here it's just like, I can't picture it. And I'm not bad at picturing stuff. And then this, like, I don't know how I'm going to adjudicate this solo. Because I think it's unlikely that I mean, how would you secure stuff? It says as the first PCs gain the ledge. So that means we'll go like one at a time. So as soon as Era 4 manages to grab onto the other ledge by the waterfall, a pair of Zanekin are going to start cutting ropes. And even if I'm very generous and the Zanekin are very dumb, and it's like, okay, let's say they cut Era 4's rope first, but he's already grabbed onto the ledge. Then it's like, oh shit, Milligrid, go. And then Milligrid goes and reaches the ledge, and then it cuts the rope there. And they just go down the line as we keep going across. You know, it's like, chances are someone is failing this. And I'm not quite sure that the risk of failure here. I think the risk of the agility check is negligible because you're attached to a rope. So you just kind of slip and you go back. And then... or you just don't get a chance to grab anything. And then if you fail the strength check, you just go back and you have to repeat the agility check anyways. So yeah, it's a series of 2 that you have to succeed on both. Otherwise, you just go back. But the rope check, I mean, you either have secured your rope somehow, or you're with like a piton, another thing I don't know how to pronounce because I don't do any climbing. You either fully secured to the wall without the use of your rope, or you're falling. 3d6 damage. I don't know how you would avoid... I mean, it's a sheer cliff. There's no way to avoid that otherwise. So your DM either has to kind of break from what's written here and be pretty nice and generous, and you have to roll reasonably well to make this, or you're probably dead. You're probably fucked. I think for a funnel, this is probably okay, although you'd have to have a lot of rope. But chances are, this is 500 feet of rope. So chances are we have one rope. We have one 500-foot long rope that's leading all the way down. So in that case, there's no way that we're swinging across to this other thing, unless, again, I just fundamentally misunderstand how this works. Because it says the far wall. So unless there's like a nook here or something, and we get to this, and there's a waterfall running here or something, and then here's the other side, and we have to just like shimmy along here, push along here. But in that case, I don't know why there would be... It says a PC can swing to the far wall. This might be the worst written area I've ever read in a module. I think so. I can't think of any off the top of the head where we've been this confused. Or I've been this confused. And I sat here for like 20 minutes and I still can't picture it in my head. And, like, yeah. I mean, again, like, how many groups are going to run this? Where they have, each player has 500 feet of rope. I've never carried 500 feet of rope as a player, ever. Like, as one player. Like, maybe as a group we've had... Even then, it's a fuck ton of rope. Like, that's an insane amount. And we traveled here across 4 days. So it's not like, oh shit, we got to go back and get more rope. It's like, okay, 4 days back, 4 days to get back to this thing. And it's like, well, you better bring a lot of rope then. So, but even then, I think you'd bring like 500 feet of rope. But I love that it says that the dense myths obscure its depth. So you only think, you have no idea how deep it is. You just see this gaping ravine that you're meant to go down. It's like, well, we have 100 feet of rope. So you go down 100 feet and it's like, yeah, you don't see shit. You're just like in the mist. You see nothing. Okay, well, we're going to like try to we're going to try to look around. We like swing a little bit. Do we see anything? No, you see nothing. Actually, you need to go down another like, 370 feet, fuckheads. walk back 4 days and get 500 feet of rope, and then come back, and then I can cut your rope when you're 470 feet down, and you can just fall to your death, so we can go to a different fucking module. Jesus Christ. I hate this. I don't even want to go on. We got to area 1-1 and I'm done. Like, I don't want to see anything else that this place has to offer. This is terrible. I've never been tempted to, like, write a module, but I'll be damned if right now I'm not tempted to rewrite Dragora's Dungeon to make it coherent. At least area 1-1, I want to rewrite. But I probably, if I kept going through this, I'd probably find a bunch more rooms that I'm just not happy with, and I just can't picture in my head, and I'm like, we can do better. This is crazy. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it here. Because I'm just gonna leave this here as just like a testament, I suppose. If anyone wants to comment and can just explain how this is meant to be run in legible text, and also can explain to me how it's fair in any way. And also, if you as a player, if you play these kind of games, do you often carry 500 feet of rope? Is that something you routinely do? Now, I know DCC doesn't have encumbrance rules, really. But how much does 500 feet of rope weigh? Let's ask AI. How much does 500 feet of hemp rope weigh? Let's find out. It's probably going to give me some nonsense answer that I'm just not going to be happy with. 50 to 100 pounds. 100 pounds of rope. Slot wise, usually I do it where 50 feet of rope is one slot. This would be 10 slots in a slot based encumbrance system of just rope. This is a level 1 module. You're not going to have any like teleport spells, most likely. You're not going to have magic artifacts that let you fly down there. You're going to have 500 feet of rope. This is the most insane thing I've ever heard. I think if I were to rewrite this, I would have it be the rope is already there. If the tracks led us to this ravine, which as far as I can tell, it doesn't say that. It says it ends in a wide clearing. So the tracks, it doesn't even say go to the ravine. But I don't know why your characters would ever think to go down the ravine unless the tracks led there. So I suppose I'd have it so that the tracks lead to the rope at the edge of the ravine and the rope goes all the way down. And then I would change it so that... Yeah, basically I would make it so that the rope goes down to the ledge. And that's it. But then that's all filled in and they see the other one across the way. And they have to just wonder how this fucking guy made it across the way. And that's like, okay, that's a bit more for the players to kind of solve and figure out themselves. And, you know, we don't really have to explain how this master assassin made it across the ravine. But yeah, this is where the rope is. And then I wouldn't have the two more Zanekin be at the top to cut the rope. I'd probably just have them be on the other side, like throwing javelins or rocks or something. So they're like at this ledge. They're in kind of a tight condition there, just on this narrow ledge at the bottom of this ravine, and they've got these dudes throwing ranged attacks at them. That would be how I'd rewrite this to make it sensible, doable, and somewhat fair. As written, this is probably the most insane thing that I've ever read from a module. Granted, I have not read, you know, thousands of modules or anything, but I've read my fair share. Yeah, nuts. So where does that leave us then? I have no idea. I'm just gonna say this. I might leave it here. I might not leave it here as far as this little DCC campaign. I don't know how I feel at the moment. Because I'd have to find another different module, and then we'd have to get through that to get to level 2, and so on and so forth. I'm definitely warming on DCC a bit more, though. The problem is, it's like Shadow Dark covers a lot of the same ground, and I think it's just a lot more modernized. I think they would really greatly benefit from writing Dungeon Crawl Classic 2nd edition. I think there's a lot that has been learned and developed over the last, 20 years or whatever. And I really hope that they're looking at Shadow Dark specifically as like, hey, this kind of does what our game does. But our game does offer you some unique aspects. I think that we could just modernize it a bit more now. Yeah, I think there's certain things that could be better. But DCC is still a very playable game. And I do think the magic system is pretty fun. I think you could probably take the magic system directly from DCC and put it into Shadow Dark if you wanted to hack that. Yeah, I mean, probably you could just take it wholesale. You could take Spellburn, you could take Mercurial Magic, you could take the list of different effects. Now, I mean, obviously, I get why Shadow Dark doesn't have that. Because it's all meant to be very simple and fast. And DCC spellcasting is slowed down a little bit by the big list of tables, the list of results you have to check and things like that. But I do like Spellburn, I do like Mercurial Magic, and I do like those spell results. And just the wide gamut of power. And I think it's a nice scaling system that works with, as you level up, you get access likely to the higher end effects and stuff. So I could be tempted to play Shadow Dark and throw in the DCC spell system. I think you also could throw in the Mighty Deed die for fighters. Just give that to fighters. Or just have an alternate fighter called the Warrior, and they get the Mighty Deed die. Rather than Weapon Mastery. I think that's pretty viable too, I think, like all these games, this is all pretty hackable. So, I just wonder if I would like DCC more if I wasn't playing DCC and I was just taking parts of it and putting it in different games. Maybe we may have to try that. We may have to try a hacked like Shadow Crawl Classics thing where we combine a couple things. I think you could also take luck as a stat and throw it into Shadow Dark rather than having luck tokens. But yeah, I think at a certain point you lose some of the charm of Shadow Dark's simplicity if you start putting in like the crit roll tables, the fumble tables, the various things that use the luck modifier. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'd put in luck or not. But the crit tables are satisfying. They are powerful and satisfying. DCC's obviously leans more towards a higher power level than Shadow Dark or most old school games. As evidenced by the fact that like the fighter gets a D12 hit die compared to a D8 for most old school games. That sort of shift is when things started to get a little power creepy. So yeah, I don't know. As far as like running it for my family between say Shadow Dark or DCC, if I was gonna pick one of the two, it sort of depends on the type of game I would play, because DCC doesn't care about like encumbrance or any crap like that. It hand waves a bunch of shit that for like a sandbox hex crawl I don't like to hand wave. I like to use a lot of aspects from Axe and things like that. Shadow Dark also hand waves stuff, but it definitely doesn't hand wave like torches and encumbrance and the more survival elements of it, which I think is kind of important for sort of a sandbox like that. Whereas if I was going to run, say, I don't know, like if I was going to try to adapt Red Hand of Doom or you know, something a bit more scripted, DCC would probably be a better choice. Characters are going to end up more powerful, more survivable in the long run, with more toys and things to play with. So I guess it would kind of depend. Yeah, I don't know. I've never ran a Shadow Dark, a DCC campaign for anybody, so it might be worth a try. Not a bad system. But Tragora's Dungeon is a bad module, based on one room that I looked at. Just fuck it. All right. Anyways, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging, and I'll see you fine folks around. Okay, so I'm partly an idiot because of course there's going to be a map. I keep forgetting DCC does it differently, where they put it like at the start or the end often, rather than actually at the section. Because the section we're reading is right here. The map is all the way at the start up here. Okay, there's a map. There's an image of what it's talking about. It doesn't solve most of what I said, though. Most of what I said is still quite accurate. And in fact, it's even worse, really. Because the waterfall is not crashing onto the opposite side. The waterfall is just partway down the ravine. Now, it does have a distance here for the ravine, so we can actually see these are 5-foot squares. So from one side to the other is like, it's sort of hard to tell, honestly, but like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 feet. Okay, so it's 30 feet. And you can see that this side is collapsed in, so I was right about that. And this side is open, but the waterfall's not covering it. So I still don't know how the waterfall impedes your ability to swing across, but more importantly, I don't know how you'd swing across. Or on what. You know, it's sort of like the old Spider-Man video games where he just sort of webs onto the sky or something, you know, like he just webs onto anything up there and you have no idea. But in a real world with real physics and stuff here, I don't know how you swing across in a way that would cause the waterfall to impede you while also still being able to swing across to the other side. Additionally, it's really not clear then. The only thing that I could think then to nullify the problem of the rope cutting is that this is a ledge. And so the rope just prevents you from climbing back up at this point. You're stuck down there because they've cut your rope. You can still climb the sheer cliff face, but that's going to be pretty suicidal for most people. But they cut your rope. They throw rocks down at you with a -8 penalty to hit for D12 damage. There's 2 of them. They each have 20 rocks. So let's say they're all going to throw at John. They recognize him as a wizard. He seems the most capable of doing some magic bullshit to stop them, okay? So for them to hit John with a 12 AC and -8, even though they have... do they have any bonus to hit the rock, or are you giving the total number? It says they have +1 range. So really they have a -7. So they need a 19 or 20 to hit John. That's 40 d20s, right? Let's just assume we roll 40 d20s. Okay. So if any of these are 19s or 20, of which I see 4 20s, I see 19, 19, 19. Okay, so yeah, at least 7 of these are going to hit John for d12 damage. So needless to say, John is very dead. And as soon as they hit John, they'd move on to somebody else. So really that first 20, that's a crit with a rock, which is just going to beam him for... Okay, well that's not very much. But anyways. But you'd say, well, they're not just going to sit there and throw 40 rocks, right? I mean, you're going to do something about it. You're going to come up with some plan. Maybe it's a 30-foot gap and you have no options and you have no running room or anything like that. It's a 30-foot gap at level 1 with basically no spells. I mean, John has nothing that would assist. He could use Magic Missile. Maybe, but Magic Missile can't shoot that far. This is, again, 470 feet down we are. There's no chance that any of this is going to work. Magic Missile has a range of 150 by default. So, no. None of the rest stuff. Word of Command, I highly doubt has a 500-foot range. 30 feet, yeah. So that's none of that's nothing. So it would entirely just be up to your wits. And again, that's not even getting into the idea of the fact that you all had to carry 500 feet of rope if you wanted multiple ropes, or one 500-foot rope, which is now cut. And the fact that, yeah, I don't know. I still think it's terrible. I think it's fucking utterly terrible. But at least there is an image now to make it clear how terrible it is. I had to hit record again just to talk about it more, because now that I saw this. Because, I don't know. I don't know what you would do in this situation. Like, if I had these characters and I was in this situation, assuming the rope was cut, the guys threw their 40 rocks, we dodged them all or whatever, or they left, or whatever. We're alive, we're down here, no rope. What do we do? Honestly, I guess the most basic thing you could do, really, is use the rope that they just cut, tie it on to something, maybe use the rubble somehow, and climb down this side of the ravine. And then have your most agile character climb up the other side and use the rope and then climb up that way. That would probably be the most sensible. Is that exciting? No, not really. But that would be the most likely option, because you are only 30 feet from the base. This is still just an abysmal thing that I hate. There's just so much wrong with it. But the image does make it clear, at the very least, what they intended it to look like. I just don't get how you swing across. Because even, I guess if you came down right here, but this is like, yeah, if you came down from this crevice, but you wouldn't come down from this crevice, you'd come down from like one of the sides of the ravine, I would imagine. But okay, if you came down from this crevice, maybe you could do like a run this way and then run and leap this way. But then your rope is going to move off of there and you're just going to go this way. You're never going to make it there. So, no. I think it's all terrible. I hate this. But I wanted to be at least clear that I was a bit of an idiot for not seeing this map. So I will acknowledge that. But it's still terrible. Alright, that's it.